Is it, guys? Y'all ready? All right, it is 9 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I think we have everybody here that's going to be present today. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Issues or concerns not on the regular agenda may be raised in the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, address all comments to the dais, begin by stating their name and address or single-member district number, and limit their remarks to no more than 3 minutes. Ray, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
All right, so with that, we'll move into the consent agenda. The commission may request for a consent agenda item to be removed to the regular agenda for presentation and public comment. Otherwise, the consent agenda will be considered in one vote. All items on the consent agenda have been recommended for approval by staff with no opposition received to date. Since some items on the consent agenda may require a public hearing, the commission will accept public comment on any item on the consent agenda in one public hearing. So on the consent agenda, we've got 2 months of meeting minutes and a first replat of Arroyo Park addition, Block 3, SMD number 3, a request to replat 2 lots together in Block 3 of Arroyo Park addition in the general heavy commercial CGCH zoning district, resulting in 1.607 acre lot. Does anybody have anything on the consent agenda that they want to discuss or remove? If not, then I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Patrick and a second from Joe. All in favor of approval, say aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, for the record, did we want to just indicate whether or not public comment had been signed up for this issue?
I think we did.
You may have. I apologize.
There was nobody signed up for public comment on the consent agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So
Thank you.
Consent agenda passes. We'll move into the regular agenda. First item is subdivision plats. The Planning Commission has final authority for approval. Appeals may be directed to City Council. First case is FP 2510, The Meridian, Section 5, SMD number 6. A request to final plat 7.796 acres of the Meridian, Section 5 into 27 new residential lots. Austin?
Thank you. Austin Reed Planner. This is a final plat for 27 lots over 7.79 acres. We are in District Number 6, Mary Coffey's District, in the Bonham neighborhood. This is entirely RS1, single-family residential zoning, and the Vision Plan has it as neighborhood. So here's a look at the plat itself. This is mostly between Royal Oak Drive and Catarina Court as connected by Lila Lane. To help orient you, north is towards the right side of the picture. These are mostly standard single-family residential lots. They range from about 60 to 80 feet wide. A look at our thoroughfare, Royal Oak Drive, there is actually a minor collector, meaning they're required to have 60 feet of right-of-way. They are showing the 60 feet, and it'll be required to be paved to 48 feet wide. Lila Lane and Catarina Court are both local roads, and they are required to have 50 feet of right-of-way, which they are showing, and 40 feet of pavement. So in this case, no variances were requested or necessary. So that brings us to our recommendation. We are recommending approval subject to 5 conditions and 1 note. Conditions being for the tax certificate, installation of water and sewer mains and the required service connections, plans for the construction of the local roads to their standards, plans for the construction of Royal Oak Drive to minor collector standards, and then to update and revise the drainage study as deemed necessary. And then we did have 1 note. It's a bit of a technicality. There's 2 double frontage lots that show a 15-foot setback that should instead be 25 feet. Do you guys have any questions?
Anybody have any questions on that? No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any public comment on that case?
Russell Gully.
Good morning, Russell Gully with SKG. Would ask for your approval as presented and would be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we'll close public comment and open up for discussion or motion.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Liz and second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 4-0. Sorry, 5-0. All right. Second case under subdivision plats is FP 2511. Jim Farr subdivision, Section 2, SMD number 2, a request of final plat Jim Farr subdivision, Section 2, Lot 2 and 3, located at 3806 and 3808 Crockett Street.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, planner. And this is the Jim Farr subdivision. It is in the Lakeview neighborhood, District 2, and it is zoned RS1, and the vision plan is neighborhood. This is the actual final plat. This was for one of the conditions. Let me go to the conditions first. We do recommend approval with the following 4 conditions: tax cert, necessary water and wastewater service lines to each new lot, and submit plans for an extension of a sewer main, and then verify with the surveyor measurements of the lots. The sewer main, as you can see, is not quite up to this last lot right here, so they would need to extend it. Also, we show the property line behind, kind of down, let me go back to another picture. So like that, and so the measurements didn't quite match what was on the plat. So they are verifying it. The engineering firm is aware of it, so. With that.
There may be, and Mr. Gully with SKG can help clarify, as Ray said, they're doing some more surveying out there. There may be some dedication of right-of-way along here, and so that's going to be one of our added conditions, that they're able to work through that. I think it was number 4 that she has on there, that they're working through the survey, but there would be the potential for acceptance of some right-of-way dedication, depending on what comes out of the surveys.
Yeah, possibly for 3 feet. Okay, with that, is there any questions?
So that is covered in the conditions, correct?
Correct, number 4.
Okay. We need to add anything about right-of-way dedication, just to give the leeway to approve that.
No, the full condition, that'll be in the final report, and the final approval letter will reflect that.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any more questions for Ray?
Okay, and Russell Gully is here to talk.
Okay.
Good morning, Russell with SKG. And looking at that, I don't know if I'll go the right way or not. Wait. If you look kind of both to the south and north of this, we bump out of maybe 3.6 feet or so. And so we've done some additional surveying along the west side of Crockett Street to verify exactly what that right-of-way is. So to true it up and square it up with Molina Heights to the north and the Jim Farr Section 1 to the south, we're likely to dedicate that little strip there. We have plenty lot depth, so that should really true up Crockett Street right of way through there. So we'll get that, before we submit it for signatures and everything, we'll get that worked out with engineering and staff and make sure we're all good there. And so we'd ask for your approval and would be happy to answer any questions.
Got it. Anybody have any questions for Russell? All right, thank you. So with that, we'll close public comment and open it up for discussion or motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Candy and second by Patrick. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0. All right. Next case in subdivision plats is RP 2509, first replat of Akins Edition, Block 2, SMD number 3. A request for approval of the first replat of Akins Edition, Block 2, located at the intersection of East 10th and Aiken Street. Good morning.
Good morning. Kim Garmany, Planning and Development Services Administrator. This is the first replat in Akins Edition, Block 2. It is 0.479 acres. It is in the RS2 zone. We're looking right there at East 10th and Aiken. This is single-member District Number 3, Harry Thomas in the Reagan neighborhood. So you'll see that this first replat is to take this one lot into two. You'll see that one of them ends up being a double frontage, and they do have the correct setbacks listed there. We are recommending approval of this first replat in blocks 2, lots 7, 8, and 9. We have 4 conditions. Provide the tax certification, install the necessary utility service connections to each lot, as well as installing the water main and providing a sidewalk along Aiken Street, or request a waiver or deviation from the city staff. We also are noting that this plat will need to follow the code of ordinance for the curb and gutter access and approaches during the residential site plan phase. Wow, that was all of those at one time. Are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Kim?
Not right now.
All right, so we'll go ahead and open public comment.
Russell's here if you have any questions.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Russell? Okay, so I'll close public comment and open it up for discussion or a motion. Motion to approve. Motion from Patrick, second from Liz. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. All right, RP 2511, second replat of Block 1, lots 35 and 36 of Poulter's Highland Acres, SMD number 2. A request to replat lots 35 and 36 of Block 1 of the Poulter's Highland Acres, resulting in 4 lots in the heavy commercial zoning district, as well as a request of approval of a variance for additional right-of-way dedication and a request for approval of a variance for no curb and gutter on Mercedes Avenue.
Thank you, Austin Reed Planner. This is a replat for 4 lots over 3.9 acres. It is District Number 2, which is soon to be Mr. Joe Self's district. We are in the Angelo Heights neighborhood. The zoning here is entirely heavy commercial CH, and the vision plan holds it to be neighborhood center. Here's a look at the plat itself. You can see this is northwest of the intersection of Mercedes, where it meets Glenna Street. This is really kind of a cleanup of the block. They're consolidating some tax parcels. Some of these are under different ownership, and the block mostly does function as heavy commercial. A look at our thoroughfare. So Glenna Street here is actually a minor arterial road. This means they're required to have 68 feet of right-of-way. That's currently sitting at 60 feet, and that's what they show on the plat as well. So they are requesting a variance to not dedicate their incremental half, which comes out to that 4 feet. They required 48 feet of pavement, which is already present, and then they do have curb and gutter as well. So Mercedes Avenue, the local road which touches the plat to the south, they have more than their required amount of right-of-way and pavement. However, it does not have curb and gutter, so they have requested a variance for that as well. A little bit of background, there was an adjacent replat last year that did get a variance granted for right-of-way on Glenna, but we required a sidewalk easement in lieu of that. And then staff's preference is to get that curb and gutter on Mercedes. So here's some pictures of the roads there, if it helps anyone. The plat, this is Glenna facing north. The plat is off there on the left side of the street. And then there's Mercedes to the south facing west, and the plat is off there on the right side of the picture past where the curbing stops. So with that, we are recommending approval of the replat, approval of the variance request for right-of-way on Glenna Street, instead asking for a 4-foot sidewalk easement, and then denial of the request to not construct curb and gutter on Mercedes. The conditions of the replat are for the tax certificate, number 2 being for the right-of-way on Glenna, preferably with a 4-foot sidewalk easement. Number 3 being for sidewalk along Glenna, number 3 being for sidewalk along Glenna, number 4 being for curb and gutter through the extent of Lot 35C on Mercedes there to the south, and then number 5 being for the water and sewer service lines. If you guys have any questions?
Austin, just for clarification, I think in that previous case, we allowed for a sidewalk easement rather than requiring the sidewalk to be installed because there is a utility easement that basically runs straight down that street.
That is correct, and I can try and show you. So this lot right here is the one that came to you last year. There were some plans to bring sidewalks up and down Glenna at some point, and they needed the extra right-of-way for that, but instead of giving that right-of-way, we accepted a 4-foot sidewalk easement. So for continuity purposes, we're recommending that again.
Got it. Thank you. Anybody have any more questions for Austin? Okay,
Thank you.
we're going to open public comment.
Russell Gully?
Good morning, Russell with SKG. On the Mercedes Street addition of curb or gutter there, we would certainly appreciate the variance for that, if not the variance for that, if we could defer that at least to a point when that Lot 35C develops, they come in, because there's no currently building on that, so when someone comes in for a building permit, they're going to have a drive approach off of Mercedes, so maybe at that time as part of the development of that lot, if they could, then would do the curb and gutter addition when there is, and I don't know how I guess we'd put that on a plat or something somehow, just some note that if we don't have the variance granted, then we defer that to kind of a later stage of development with a building permit for Lot 35C. And as was stated, this is kind of a cleanup of that's been kind of carved out by meets and bounds through the years, so this does get this into platted lots. So be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions for Russell? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any more public comment?
Nope, that's it.
We'll go ahead and close public comment and open it up for discussion with the group and a motion.
Can we go back to the recommendations?
How would what Russell is requesting, deferring that, how would that work? Is that something we've done previously?
Well, I'd like to hear from our city engineer to make sure he's okay with it, but I think ideally, we would defer it to what we would call a major site plan. Just as Mr. Gully said, there's no structure on that site. As a new structure comes in, they have to go through the site plan process, and that's what would then trigger the curb and gutter with the drive access at that time. If our city engineer, we haven't had that discussion, but I think that's something we've considered in the past for sure.
Good morning.
Morning.
Kevin Pate, city engineer. It's a great suggestion from Russell, so I'm real good with that.
Okay, great, thank you.
And just as a note, since the city does have a major sidewalk project that'll be going in that area within the next 18 to 24 months, we would not require them to put in a sidewalk, because there's no point in doing that now and then tearing it out and redoing it. So just FYI.
Okay.
So they need to submit plans for sidewalk or submit a waiver on number 3? Is that right?
Yeah, number 3 allows the applicant to submit a waiver to myself and the city engineer, or a deviation through that process.
And that's administrative approval?
That is correct,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So does the motion need to allow for the deferral, or is it built into number 4 here?
I think if you're clear with your motion that it is intended from this board to be a deferral, that would be helpful for staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, I make a motion to approve as presented with the exception of number 4, allowing for the deferral of the construction of the curb and gutter pursuant to site plans.
Second.
have a motion from Liz to accept as presented, but granting a deferral of sidewalk plans until development of the lot. And a second from Joe. Is there any further discussion? All in
Sidewalk
favor?
or- Hold on, or the curb and gutter. Did you say sidewalk just now?
If I said sidewalk, I meant curb and gutter.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I will take a vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. All right, moving into conditional uses. The planning commission has final authority for approval of conditional uses. Appeals may be directed to city council. First case is CU 2511, 1717 Wilshire Place, SMD number 2. Request for a conditional use to allow short-term rental in a single-family residential RS1 zoning district located at 1717 Wilshire Place. And I'll turn it over to Ray.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, planner. Actually, senior planner. I keep saying planner. I've been a senior planner for 8 months now, but
Yourself short.
so this is a request for a conditional use for a short-term rental. It is brand new. They did pass their safety inspection. Usually I put that on the slide, but they did pass their safety inspection. It is in RS1, single-family residential, District 2, Angelo Heights neighborhood, and they do have the required parking. There are 3 active STRs in Angelo Heights where the green stars are. 2 of them are actually operated by this same operator that is going to be operating this one. And then we have 2 that are expired. 20 notices were mailed out. We have 2 in favor on the screen, and then over the weekend, we have 1 that is opposed, and it is 1710. So right next to, so right here, this one is opposed. They didn't say anything, they just marked the box. So with that, staff is recommending approval with that they follow the section 406 and 804.
Do they have a local operator?
They do.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions for Ray? Okay,
And there is no public comment.
okay. So we'll move into discussion or motion from the group.
Second.
A motion by Candy and a second by Patrick. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, that's 5-0. Second conditional use case, let's see, revocation of conditional, are we going to take these in one?
Yes, let's
Okay.
do Woodruff first.
Okay. Revocation of conditional use for short-term rentals, CU 24-26, 1217 Woodruff Street, SMD number 4, a request to renew the conditional use to allow short-term rental located at 1217 Woodruff Street.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, senior planner. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit now, rather than the director's report, about the renewal process. This was the very first renewal for the amended short-term rental ordinance that we have, and we thought it went really, really, really well. Out of the 65 that were active previously, we had 56 renew. Some of them, the numbers between 65 and 56, some of them came forward that they are no longer operating and or they sold the house and the new owners are not operating. And then we had 2 that we were thinking of revocation that we are bringing forward, and then we had 2 that did not contact us at all. So this is the first one. When we looked at the renewal process, if you remember, we were making sure they were up to date on hotel tax, that they had no code complaints, and/or neighbors calling to complain, and police reports. And this first one, when we started checking with everything, finance let us know that they had not heard from them at all. So we let them know that they were in violation, and they remitted a report saying that they haven't even yet operated, that they had a long-term renter, and so they had paid 0 in hotel tax, which they got approved. They got approved in October of 2024, and as of May of 2025, if they remit that 0 hotel tax, then that means they have gone 2 or more quarters without paying. So we are bringing them forward for possible revocation. We did mail out notices, 25 notices, and actually we received 1 in favor of revocation and then 1 opposed of revocation. And she put a note saying that it is no one's business how she chooses to use her property. Leave her alone and let her decide how best to use it. So, with that, staff is recommending revocation.
Okay. So, just for clarity's sake, the ordinance requires the short-term rental to operate as a short-term rental in 2 quarters of the previous 12 months, correct?
Correct. So just so the newer people on the board are aware, we put this in the new ordinance because we had people that were applying for conditional uses just to keep them out of their neighborhood, because you can't have one within 500 foot of another. So we kind of put this clause in there so that way we wouldn't have somebody blocking other people. So it's not so much that, I guess, we have not heard from the owner. She has asked us to work with the manager. The manager is saying that they plan on using it once their long-term renter is up. They're not sure they understand. They kind of want it just there, just in case they can't get a long-term renter.
When is their long-term renter up, or did they say that?
They did not say.
So this is pure ignorance on my part. Can they pay the hotel tax even with a long-term renter there? I mean, to keep it in compliance?
I mean,
I don't think there is, because it's calculated on how many nights stay, and
Okay.
there's a formula there for, it's a percentage of what they're charging,
Okay.
just like any hotel would
Yeah.
do, and so, yeah.
we do have one other STR that she does do some, like 90-day ones or 60-day ones, but she makes sure to break it up to have at least 2 weeks worth of, to keep her status. So.
So can you kind of expand on the last part of this where there was another property that?
So we had let the manager know that we were taking this to Planning Commission to decide. He is a manager of a previous short-term rental that was denied. And so we were talking to him about that one, and he was still paying hotel tax on it even though it had been denied. And he made the claim that they turned in the forms incorrectly under the denied one when it should have been under this one.
Okay.
The timeline does not work out for that, not to mention the copies of the forms that they handed into finance did have the denied address on it with their signature.
So I guess just to clarify on that a little bit further is, if there's a long-term renter in the property, as the manager indicated, then why would they have been paying hotel tax?
It's a good question.
Okay.
Neither the owner nor the manager is here today.
Okay. Is the manager local?
No, he's in Washington State.
Okay.
The owner is listed as the operator, and she is local.
Okay. But when you asked questions about the property, she deferred you to the manager?
Yes, we
Okay.
have heard from her once.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any more questions for Ray? All right. Do we have any public comment on this one?
Not on this one.
Okay. So with that, I will turn it over to discussion with the group and a motion.
When did we put in this stipulation about having to,
It was approved at city council in May of 2024.
so just this last, it wasn't the
Yes.
original?
No.
deal, just- Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they actually got approved under the
Current
updated,
ordinance. Yeah.
not
This
the old
one was approved in October of '24.
Okay.
So it was several months after the ordinance had been passed.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're still making income if they've got a long-term renter in there, so it's not like we're going to take their income away from them. But we also don't need to let them have that if they're not gonna utilize it, in my opinion. That's why we put it in there, that's why it was approved, that's why they applied for it even after it was in there.
Agree.
What is the process of if they no longer have a long-term renter reapplying for a new short-term rental?
Yeah, they would have to reapply as brand new and take the chance that somebody else has come in and they're within 500 feet. They basically lose their position.
Sure. Okay.
Looked like Candy was gonna say something, so I didn't want to interrupt, but I was
Well,
gonna make a
decided
motion
not
for
to.
revocation if,
Yeah,
Is that how you say it, revocation?
revocation.
Well, we're so used to saying approve or deny.
Yeah,
Well, in this case, we're actually revoking the conditional use. We're taking it away, so that property no longer has the conditional use. And it's kind of some technical jargon, but yeah, I mean, that's,
Okay, so we have a motion from Patrick
Second.
to revoke the conditional use.
Second.
And a second from Joe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0 in favor of revocation. All right, second revocation is CU 2353, 2301 Palms Court, SMD number 1, a request to renew the conditional use to allow a short-term rental located at 2301 Palms Court.
Okay, so Ray Lineberry, senior planner again. This one, I'm going to change a little bit here. So staff received more information. I know in your report it said that we were waiting on the official report, and we received more information. So staff is actually recommending approval of the renewal rather than bringing this forward for revocation. So in the new STR ordinance, we have a section that, oops, I did not change that out. It is not failure to timely report and remit a hotel tax. But there is a violation in there for severity of calls for service and citations. And staff was unsure about how severe this case was, and we have heard more information, found information, and we do not feel it is severe. So staff is recommending approval for renewal. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
so rather than revoking, you're now saying that this one has, with your extra information, you're now recommending approval. I
Correct.
just want to
The
be clear.
severity, it is not severe.
Okay,
It would have went through the renewal process without coming here.
okay.
Can it still go through that renewal process, or do we need to actually?
Since
approve
it's
it?
already here,
Okay.
I would say you would need to prove it.
The way we have the agenda written is for them to renew.
Okay.
And so that's the option today, and that's our recommendation from staff, is that we're going to allow them to renew so they can continue on with their conditional use as a short-term rental at the property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions for Ray?
The owner is here if you have any questions.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and open up public comment. Do you have anything?
I'm here. Justin Sowers, 2301 Palms Court. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Anybody have anything?
It was, so in our Airbnb and VRBO rules and regulations, before you can rent, you have to sign a little deal that says you won't bring any weapons to the property. One of our renters did. It was a young man, probably 16, 17 years old. Brought a loaded weapon, put it in the nightstand, left with the family. That very evening, my ex-wife and daughter were cleaning the property, and my daughter came across the gun in the nightstand. And so anyway, we bagged it up and took it to the police department. Started that whole process. About a week later, the lady calls through Airbnb, because they can't call us directly, and was threatening us for the gun. And I said, we're not going to give you your gun back. First, I can't verify that it's yours or that you're even legal to have it, and we've already turned it into the police department. She got pretty upset, and so anyway, she started threatening and doing all kinds of things like that, but we let the Midland Police Department take care of it, and then she's subsequently no longer allowed to rent from Airbnb anymore. So just they break that rule once, they don't really let them have a second chance.
So you did let the police department take care of it?
From the instance, yeah.
Perfect,
So
cool.
I'm a vet. I'm also a licensed, licensed to carry and a weapons instructor. So, when it comes to weapons, we take it pretty serious.
Yeah.
Especially when my 15-year-old daughter at the time found it, I wasn't real happy about that.
Yeah.
But that's the bulk of the story. That's what happened. I mean, we try really hard to have a very family-friendly Airbnb. We're on the lake. It's a lot of fun. Lots of fishing in our channel and stuff like that. So we want to really be kid-friendly. And that just kind of ruffled our feathers a little bit, So anyway, long and short of it, we let MPD take care of it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And I'm sorry for sounding like Kermit the Frog. I got horrible allergies going on. Whatever blew in here yesterday was horrible. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, and thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Anybody have any more questions for staff or Mr. Sauer? Okay, so we'll close public comment and go to discussion or a vote.
I was gonna say, it sounds like it was managed the proper way. I'll motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right. And that, to clarify, is approval of the continuance of the conditional use. Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that looks like 5-0. That wraps up our conditional uses, and we'll move into rezonings and comprehensive plan amendments. City Council has final authority for approval of rezonings and amendments to the comprehensive plan. First case is PD 0502, Amendment Coliseum, SMD number 2. A request for approval of a plan development to update the concept site plan to include renovations and expansion located at 50 East 43rd Street. I believe that is the Coliseum.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Aaron Vanoy, Director of Planning Development Services. So this is just an amendment to the plan development that oversees this large site, which encompasses the Coliseum, the outdoor arena, the whole fairground area. I'm going to see if I can do this without messing it up too bad. So you see this little area right here. This is actually Lakeview. They have a stadium there, and then there's another little piece there. And so this PD amendment does not impact them in any way. It's really only this larger area that's out here. So we're calling it a major site plan because they, as many folks know, that the bond election did pass for the expansion and renovation of our Coliseum, and this is the plan development amendment to do that. It's in SMD number 2, which is currently vacant, and then Lakeview neighborhood as well. So here's our land uses and zoning maps. On the left, you can see the land use is campus and institutional. Of course, the school district has some area to the right side there. Of course, this is our fairgrounds and coliseum that's very important to our community. In 2005, they did a planned development to allow multiple types of uses from entertainment, livestock, all of the things that we traditionally associate with our coliseum out there. We did send out notices. You can see we noticed a large area, 45 notices. To date, we have not received any in support or any in opposition, which just tells us that folks in the area do know that the Coliseum is there. They are aware that a renovation and expansion is going to take place. Here's a zoom in of what the architect has provided. You can see right in here, this is the original outer wall of the Coliseum, and so it's going to be expanded out completely around, and then there's going to be a couple of little wings here on either side. I say little wings, but large complex that's going to improve our Coliseum. Over here, they're going to have a new lower access that allows for livestock, entertainers, and everything to come into the Coliseum a lot easier. But if you can kind of envision, this is kind of zoomed in, you can see all the parking lot and the structures there to the left. But when you look out here, for the entire site, it's not a major impact, but it will impact us significantly as a community. And so basically what we've done is we've gone through and looked at the rationale. It's classified as a major site plan under the ordinance. The proposed expansion does not impact the land use in any significant way, because most of this is going to be adding indoor seating, accommodations for exhibitors, entertainers, and contestants within the Coliseum. The scale of the project compared to the land dedicated is minimal and will continue to house significant heritage and cultural significance for the fairgrounds and the community. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the major site plan amendment to PD 0502 for the expansion of the Coliseum on the fairgrounds property. Any questions?
Questions for Aaron? All right, thank you, Aaron. We have any public comment?
We do not.
All right, so we'll go ahead and open it up for discussion or a motion from the group.
Make a motion to approve the amendment to the site plan? Is that the right, did I say that right?
Plan development.
I'll second what she said.
All right, we've got a motion from Liz and a second from Patrick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 5-0. All right, second rezoning and comprehensive plan amendment is Z 251821 East 21st Street, SMD number 4. A request for approval of a comprehensive plan amendment from neighborhood to commercial on lot 6 and a zone change from single-family residential RS1 to general commercial CG located at 21 East 21st Street, lots 4 through 6.
Good morning, Ray Lineberry, Senior Planner. So this is a rezone and a comp plan amendment for one of the lots, but the rezone is for all three. It looks like one lot in this picture. I have all three lots in a different picture, but they are requesting to rezone from residential to general commercial. It is District 4 and the Reagan neighborhood. Let me move on to this one. So as you can see on my left, the vision plan has commercial already on most of the property except for that last lot. So the comprehensive plan would be to move over the commercial into that one lot. And then the zoning, you can see it is CGCH next to the lot, so we would be moving it over to encompass that whole red area as general commercial, not CGCH. Also, yeah, so this is how it looks. That's the way it is platted. It is platted as 3 different lots, not just one. So the rezone is for all 3. The comprehensive plan amendment is just for the last one. We did mail out 18 notices. We had 1 opposed behind it. And then over the weekend, we received 2 more opposed. 27, so right next to it, right here, and 37, which is right here. So, one says that they have enough traffic as is. They don't need any more traffic. The other one did not say anything. I do know that we had a couple of phone calls. That building on the lot, right underneath where it says 21, is on the dangerous building list. And in order for her to tear it down, for it not to be a dangerous building, there are, I did not, okay. So if you can see, there are 2 storage sheds right here. This is Western Sky, and they use those storage sheds. And so if she was to tear down the house, she would not be able to leave those storage sheds there in RS1. Residential, you have to have a primary structure, a house on there, before you can have an accessory structure. And she needs those sheds, the accessory structures, for her restaurant. Also, if any of you have been to Western Sky recently, they're already currently kind of using this as a parking lot right here. So she does want to expand it to allow for a regular parking lot, and you cannot have a commercial parking lot in residential. So staff did look at it, and it does support the continued growth of a local established business. It allows the restaurant to offer more parking, and it also removes a dangerous building from the dangerous building list. And we do believe it meets the development pattern. So with that, staff is recommending approval.
Anybody have any questions for Ray?
Oh, is there requirements for, I mean, like a separation of some kind between the GC, between the
A
residential?
fence would be required between, if this does become all commercial, a fence would be required right there between commercial and residential.
Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, there's also a 10-foot separation between the structure from the property line between residential and commercial. Now, that current structure may not meet that, so there may be some non-conformance right now, but if they choose to redevelop or something, there's something to consider there to give a little more space.
Just trying to find a better picture, I guess not.
All right, anybody have anything else? Okay, do we have any public comment?
The owner is here if you have any questions.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Yolanda Franco. I own Western Sky Steakhouse. Do you have any questions?
Or are you planning on just using this for a parking lot? Or?
I was yeah. We need to get that structure off because the previous owner left it in dismay, and it's an eyesore. Not only that is he was using it as a parking lot, which, like she said, you're not supposed to. I'm just kind of going back and trying to get it all correct. I know y'all, if you've been there, the parking lot in the back is a nightmare and stuff. So we would try to get it, graded, asphalt, do all that to try to make it look nicer in the area.
Okay.
For me, that kind of addresses the concern about increased traffic too, because you're just going to continue to use the way it's already been used, right?
Right.
Just trying to make it legal, essentially.
Well, and it would also, adding that extra parking, it would also kind of conform, like a parking, we could stripe it, we could do, and now people aren't, if you've ever been there at night, especially during stock show,
Yeah.
they park however they want to. Yeah, they park in the street with the trailers. I mean, it's crazy. But, we thought if we did this, it would kind of give it more structure and, lines, and people would know where to park and how to park and not just everywhere.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and, was there any more public comment? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment and open up for discussion or vote.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's 5-0. All right, so that wraps up our agenda, and we'll move into the planning director's report. Aaron?
Thank you, Chairman. Just wanted to let everybody know this is budget season for the city. We also have some strategic sessions with city council that are going to actually start tomorrow after regular city council. They're going to be held here. So starting tomorrow I think it was about 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning, they'll start here. And then the following day, they will have another session. And then as well as on June 23rd, which is the following Monday. Planning has been asked to speak towards the beginning of that session. And one of the major items we're going to be talking on is our comprehensive plan, which, as many of you guys know, are from 2003 and has had a couple of minor updates. It is time for our city to look at that comprehensive plan and see how we can get some updates. As you guys know, we're kind of being stretched out just a little bit with development in the southwest part of our town, but we also know that we have this great opportunity with the potential of the interstate coming through on our northeast part of town. And so we have to start really planning what does our next 30 to 50 years look like, and how do we make sure that we have enough utilities, infrastructure, street, roads, parks, all of those types of things to support that growth and development, as well as trying to be good fiscal stewards of the property taxes that would be coming in, and how those are allocated out to those major projects in the capital improvement plan and stuff like that. So if you have a chance to tune in or talk with your city council member, we encourage all citizens to do that, as well as this group here, because it will impact our planning commission as we try to, if we're able to do some updates, how that would be moved forward, as it would kind of go through some public meetings and obviously come through this board to move on to city council for ultimate decision making. So we're very excited that planning's getting that opportunity to at least discuss it, give them some options of if they see favorable to move something forward. And it really is the plan for the entire community. It's not just what planning wants. It's not just what maybe fire or police or anything. It's the plan for the entire community. And so that's really, really important for us. We're doing fairly good as a department. We've seen a slight uptick in permits over the last month. Staff teams have been doing very, very well. We've had a few new staff members that have come on, and you'll see a couple of more staff members come on. Today we actually have our summer intern is here in the office, or here in the audience. Sarah Beth is here, so we actually have an intern for planning this summer, and that's going to help us get caught up on some different databases, but as well as expose them to this group and other groups and how different public meetings take place. So we're very excited about that. So we're excited that she's here to help us and work with us. But we've got a big summer ahead. I think we've got a lot of cases that'll be starting to come up, just depending on how development and interest rates and things happen. But the development community seems to be staying, it's not going down, so I think it's staying strong in status. We'd like to see it increase it in any way, but we're happy with where we're at. Ray, do you have any updates on Granicus today, or is that next time?
I have a slight update, I guess. We've been given access to it, and we're starting to go through all the properties that they have found and learn how to use the software. We're doing some training.
Ray, can you tell a little bit, just so everybody knows what you're talking about, what it's used for?
I'm sorry. So we went through to try to find some software to help us keep track of STRs, and also find all the ones that are operating in the city that we don't know about. We have heard from lots of people that Airbnb has about 180 for San Angelo. And as I said before, we only have 55 or 56 that are active with us. So we have quite a few that have not come forward. So this software went out and found them all and put them in a database for us. So we can start sending them letters. We can start keeping track of them and trying to get them to come forward. So, like I said, this week and next week, we are starting the training process of getting to know this software and how to use it, and seeing what all's in there. So I'm hoping probably in August to start having some of them come forward for conditional uses.
Are y'all gonna be doing that all at once, all the letters, or are you gonna kind of taper it so you don't have?
It will be
an
tapered.
influx?
At the moment, we're working with finance, so they also have some letters to send out for hotel tax. So we will be working with them, and it'll be kind of as we go, it's not going to be one. Smart.
Yeah. And there's really two avenues of enforcement. One is through our code enforcement, through planning, saying, all right, you don't have the proper authority to do it there. The other is an actual tax code of, hey, you are supposed to be paying this tax code. And that's probably the stronger of the two, but at the same time, the city going through that process. I do want to commend Ray and the entire team for their work, and even some other folks over in the department that did a great job of doing the renewal process. I think we had a very, very good success rate. This has been our highest success rate of renewals to date. We always stayed around the 35 to somewhere in there, and now we're up in the 55s. While that doesn't seem like a dramatic increase, it is for us, and that the ones that want to do it right are doing it correct. The ones that don't are still trying to avoid the processes and the systems. And we're getting more sophisticated and more technical ourselves so that we can say, okay, you cannot do that any longer. You must follow the ordinance. You must go through the right processes. Otherwise, there's penalties to be had. And I think that's the goal of any of our ordinances, is there's reasons why they've been adopted. There's reasons why people want them to be enforced. And so we just have to do that universally through our community and make sure that we're being fair. And just like the gentleman today on Palms, once we get the rest of the story, we can make better decisions of, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. They did the right thing. Let's go through and make sure that we're recommend approval for them, or whatever the case may be. So I really appreciate our staff looking at all sides of those cases and really working through the issues. So, with that, Chairman, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, so I've got one more thing. I think everyone knows that Joe Self was elected to city council and will be sworn in tomorrow and become official. Just want to offer congratulations to him, and also just let everybody know that this is his last meeting.
Yep, I would like to formally resign from my position on planning, as I will take a new position tomorrow, somewhere else.
Well, congratulations to you, and appreciate your service on this commission, and definitely look forward to what you do in your future as a city councilman.
Thank you. It's been great.
So I think that's everything. Next regular meeting of the Planning Commission is scheduled to begin Monday, July 21st, at 9 a.m. at the East Mezzanine at City Hall at 72 West College Avenue. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
And Joe needs to do that, right? I officially resign.
Motion to adjourn.
And I'll second.
All right, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye.